Cool. Drew, you were leading into...
Escape from New York.
Yeah, take it away.
So, in the grim and unimaginably distant future of 1997, crime in the United States has reached epidemic proportions, with harsh sentences being imposed on those found guilty of even relatively lesser crimes, and the whole of Manhattan having been turned into a prison, with little power or food, but apparently plenty of scope for making steam-powered cars. But I digress. As Kurt Russell's Snake Plisken is being prepared for his placement in a Manhattan prison, a life sentence for robbery, which seems a tad harsh, a plane flying over the island is in distress. This plane just happens to be Air Force One, and it has been hijacked by terrorists. Donald Pleasancy's entirely convincingly American president escapes, along with a C60 cassette tape that's of crucial world importance, and he lands somewhere in the metropolis.
A C60 cassette. What could be on it that's of that possibly of that much importance? It's the new 12-inch from the Pet Shop Boys, damn it.
It's a compilation of pirated Spectrum games.
The prison's warden, Bob Houck, Lee Van Cleef, offers Plisken, seemingly the most famous soldier in the world or something, given that everyone seems to know him, a deal. Rescue the president and his tape.
You know how soldiers get famous and become household names, eh?
Yeah. Happens all the time. Rescue the president and his tape and get a full pardon. Plisken accepts the deal, but is less than pleased when Houck imposes a 22-hour time limit, because apparently the president's useless in less than a day. So I'm already picking holes in this film, and a film I actually reasonably enjoy, but I'll carry on. And just to give him that extra impetus to succeed, has him implanted with micro-explosives that will rupture his carotid arteries if he fails in his mission. Plisken pilots a glider to the top of one of the World Trade Center towers, and then must locate the president in the urban war zone that Manhattan has become, avoiding the various street gangs that roam the city, and extricate him. Along the way, he'll meet Isaac Hayes, Duke of New York, Harry Dean Stanton's brain, and Ernest Borgnine's psychic cabbie, who's always where you need him to be when you need a cab. All of whom will in some way help or hinder his progress. To be honest, I don't have an awful lot to say about Escape from New York. It's an action film, and Kurt Russell shoots some folk. Escape from New York is set in the same sort of grotty, bleak, dystopian near future as films like RoboCop, though it's got far less of a social narrative and really is more of a straight-up action film. And in that regard, it's entirely watchable and competent, but resolutely nothing special. But at least it's not Escape from LA. At no point in this film does Snake Plissken go surfing down a street. Yeah, I haven't seen Escape from New York in years and years and years. And my interest in general in this sort of action film is not what it was when, for instance, I was a wee boy. 12-year-old me loved this film. 232-year-old me, or whatever the hell I am now, is like, yeah, it's okay, but nothing much happens. Yeah, I honestly don't have much more to say than that, other than I never realised in the past quite how much of a Clint Eastwood impression Kurt Russell is doing throughout this film.
Yeah. I'm probably in a similar place. I don't think I'd seen this in the intervening time since I saw it at some point, I don't know, probably nearly 20 years ago now. But it's still sort of fun in a really stupid way. It's nice to see Kurt Russell just hamming it up as a lead role, but yes, everything else in it is pretty silly. But it's silly enough to kind of still have some amount of charm. I didn't mind watching it. I
don't want to think I didn't like it. It's just that there's nothing particularly massively praiseworthy about it, so I shouldn't have much to say.
This is one of those films that I'm pretty sure I have seen in its entirety, however sort of piecemeal, and I have sat down with the purpose of, or with the intent of, watching it from start to finish on more than one occasion, and really never made it more than about 20-25 minutes in. it's just never struck a chord with me in the same way that a film we will talk about in a couple of movies' time seems to be immensely popular with a certain group of people, and I have just never appreciated what it is, despite the fact I feel like I should very much be predisposed to liking it. Can't really comment too much on Escape from New York. I just, from what I've seen of it, it's very, very silly, and it's very much of its time and place. And part of that trend of movies from the latter half of the last century, where America goes out of its way to paint the most dystopian possible future that you'd want to avoid, and which the first part of this century has taught us they will do anything possible to achieve.
Scathing social commentary from Craig there. Yeah. So the only other thing I found remarkable at this film is that, as I mentioned, there doesn't seem to be food or power provided to these prisoners in Manhattan, although they can make steam-powered cars somehow. And also there is plenty of hairspray, at least for one man.
they've still got styling products in abundance.
That's that character is the guy that gets killed in Assault on Precinct 13 by the father of the wee girl. It's the same actor, and he just appears kind of with, it's a ridiculous character, and it's almost laughably bad. It's the one thing that almost took me out of that film, just kind of hissing and just ridiculous. And he basically looks like a human troll doll. And as soon as he appeared, I'm thinking, that's like 4 cans of hairspray on one head. Why is there so much hairspray in this prison?
We've no idea where our next meal is coming from, but we do have a thriving black market for hairspray.
And why, when deciding your place for this prison, Connolly, do you make it the most expensive bit of real estate in the country? Oh yeah, we'll just use that. That seems legit.
Yes, I've never quite understood that either, because in Los Angeles it's kind of post-apocalyptic in terms of like an earthquake or something that's happened in Escape from LA. And in RoboCop, Detroit at the time was a rundown city, still is a rundown city just now, a lot of poverty, a lot of closed industry and stuff, so it made sense to set that in Detroit. But making Manhattan the financial centre of your country, and yes, Scott says the most expensive real estate, a prison, it's like, yeah, it's a nice idea, just don't think too hard about it.
I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. In the future of 1997. Fair enough. Anything